Welcome, everyone, to the final day of the Fall 2021 Martin Gardner Celebration of Mind Talks. I'm very pleased to be able to introduce George and Roxanne Miller. George and Roxanne are extremely well known in the puzzle community. They've also been G4G attendees. Independently, they were substantial puzzle collectors, I think it is fair to say, and enthusiasts. And creators. Certainly in the case, many of us have had some of George's 3D printed puzzles from long ago. And now that they are together, there's been this sort of combinatorial explosion. And those of you who've been following this week and seen me host a lot, have probably noticed my shelf of twisty puzzles and other things back there. And that's, I've got, if you could see the rest of my office, you'd see there's a lot more puzzles, and there's a lot more that are not on display. And by most standards, people would say, I've got a problem with puzzles. Today, we are talking an entirely other order of magnitude. You are going to be blown away. Also, I just wanted to mention, we've heard a lot about all week long about all sorts of things that Martin Gardner wrote about, but we haven't seen that much really about puzzles. And he certainly wrote a lot about puzzles. In particular, he had, sorry if I'm stealing some of your content here, I should have asked, but he introduced the world to Miguel Berrocal's incredibly cool puzzle sculptures. And we're certainly going to see some of those. So without further ado, George and Roxanne, take it away.
Okay, well, it was sort of like the perfect storm when I met Roxanne, or she met me, because we were both, as you say, puzzle enthusiasts. And when you mix two together, it's exponential. And we've been having a real fun time. And about a year ago, I wrote James Dalgetty, because I've been following
January.
Well,
December.
Before then,
yeah, it was December.
I noted in his website, Puzzle Museum, that he'd been looking to place his collection in a museum, a proper British museum, for over 20 years. And I emailed him and I said, well, how's it going? And he said, well, I haven't found anybody yet. I said, well, listen, I'm sure you have a whole list of possibilities. I'd like to be put at the bottom of that list. In other words, anybody else but me. And about a month later, he said, it's you.
Yeah.
So
he said it was us because we bought a house to hold the collection first.
Yeah, because we already filled this house with. Anyway, the last 2 days, Roxanne and I have put together a movie, 19 minutes movie, that will show you our collection. We're very proud. You'll be the first people to see all 50,000 puzzles in its entirety.
It takes two houses to hold our large collection of puzzles. Both are in sunny Boca Raton, Florida. The first one has a driveway medallion showing an octagon to square dissection. The steps to the puzzle palace are graced with a pentomino font. Just inside the foyer are two opposing mirrors, shelving mini Berrocals.
When we turn to the left of the main entrance, we come to the puzzle pit. Here we can see the major pieces in the collection. The bottom row holds the only known set of anvils with the same serial number. Behind the puzzle pit, you can see the rest of the Berrocal collection. In total, we have 126 pieces. At the bar, we have a few more Berrocals and a Franco Rocco. In the void, there's a life-size bronze puzzle entitled The Lovers. This table holds all Hanayama metal puzzles produced. The next room to look at is the game room. This room holds all of our keychain puzzles, coin release puzzles, and jewelry. The game room also holds the chess puzzles that we have collected over the years. In the root room, we have the Rick Irby Shrine and puzzles related to our other hobby, golf. Next up is my office. Here you can see a few tiny wooden puzzles. It also holds over 500 3D crystal puzzles that I've assembled over the past year. George's burr collections can be seen on the bottom shelves. This wall holds a number of puzzles that George has prototyped over the years, along with their mass-produced counterparts. The mirror room holds over 3,000 mass-produced Rubik's-type puzzles. This room is a kaleidoscope of color just waiting to be twisted. It also holds a few custom puzzles gifted to us by dear friends. The master bedroom has a cabinet full of new puzzles that have just come in. Even the kitchen is not immune from puzzles. Here we have puzzles that look like food, some dishes, more puzzles that might look like dishes, and even more. In the breakfast room, we have ice cream, dissected animals, candy, and other sweets, along with a variety of wine bottle puzzles. On the table, we can see a copy of Plato's Secret. The hallway holds our pin map and a variety of map puzzles. They come in a variety of base and precious metals. As you ascend the circular staircase, you'll see quite a few Uncle's puzzles, along with the entire tavern puzzle collection. At the top of the stairs are a number of small disentanglement puzzles that George and I have collected. The metal room holds the Strybos, Gillen, and Rocky Charo puzzles. Here you will also see a number of original wooden puzzles made by Maddie Linkola. Our favorite place in our home is the IPP wall. It holds most of the IPP puzzles from the very first one until the most recent. I would have to guess there are about 3,000 puzzles in this area. It has a total of 220 linear feet of shelving. At the top of the staircase, you can see our copy of the hyperbolic plane. At the end of the room is a complete set of the Japanese hachis puzzles. The West Wing hallway holds edge-matching puzzles, a few jigsaws, Rubik's Magics, and sliding tile puzzles. The rotunda holds the Soma table, a Gordian's knot and imperfect packing by Donald Knuth, and another prototype wall of George's. It wouldn't be a true puzzle palace without a puzzle door. When opened, this door leads to the dormitory. Here we have a workspace, my unfinished crystal puzzles, our duplicate IPP puzzles, and a variety of printers. If you look carefully, you'll also see George's collection of monkeys amongst his 3D printers. On the bridge, we find all of the multi-level puzzle games. Above the workshop and garage, there's an attic which houses even more duplicates. When you crawl through the mouse hole, you'll come to the area that houses all of George's materials. He uses these to build even more puzzles. Now let's go downstairs.
Here we have the Puzzle Palace Workshop. It holds the saw stop, a planer, the laser cutter, and a variety of other machines. But the real epicenter of the Puzzle Palace is the printer room. It holds my newest SLS printer. With this I can build fully functional puzzles that are ready to go right out of the sifter. But that's for another talk. Now we visit the Puzzle Palace Museum, which lies in a jungle setting. The driveway medallion sports a hex to square dissection. The entrance features a puzzle for the serious puzzler to prove himself worthy to enter. Once inside, Roxanne takes over the narration.
Here you see the Great Wall of China. It measures a mere 10 foot wide by 26 foot tall. This area holds just over 500 vases, ceramics, porcelains, and jugs, to name a few. The banner to the right was made by a childhood friend of mine. It uses the Pentominoes font that George designed. These are but a few of the 15 puzzle tables we have purchased for the museum. You may see more throughout the video. A few children's puzzles are shown here. Along with George Hart's People puzzle, you can see our collection of Berrocal prints. Even with the wide open windows, no direct sunlight ever hits this area. We are now in the Great Room. This section of the house holds all of the big wood. The east wall holds the kamuki puzzles, while the south wall houses the designers. The west wall holds large puzzles of various times and builders. Along the top, we have puzzles that are simply too large to fit into the 13 by 15 cubbies. The north wall holds puzzles of unknown origin to us. Along the floor, you can see many recently acquired puzzles that need to be photographed and shelved. Throughout the house, you'll find shadow boxes that each hold many small surprises. These can be found in the bedrooms, the hallways, even the bathrooms. No matter where you turn, you'll find these tiny wonders. Even coins have a place in the museum. In the jigsaw room, there are hundreds of old and new jigsaws. This room is not just full of your standard flat 2D jigsaw puzzles, but it also holds a number of 3D jigsaws as well. There is even a beanbag in here, which is the best nap spot in the museum. One of the standout pieces we have in the collection is the world's oldest jigsaw puzzle. It was made by John Spilsbury in 1766 and was commissioned by the Archdruid of Stonehenge. We also have one of the most complete collections of French parlor games. The boxes and puzzles were made by a number of different companies between the 1890s and 1930s. The jigsaw room also contains our Robert Journet puzzles. This is most likely the most complete collection of these in the world. James Delgetty will soon have a book out describing these puzzles and their history. This room also houses a number of glass-top puzzles that are related to the World Wars and a couple from the United States. You'll notice as you view this collection, the majority of the pieces are from the UK or Europe. We're trying to add an American element to the collection as we go along. Next door to the jigsaw room is the library. This room not only holds books related to puzzles, but also puzzles that look like books. It also holds our anchor puzzles and a number of children's games. Even the closet is filled with puzzles. The cabana bath represents what's on a man's mind. The hallway outside holds a lot of glass puzzles. The chest room houses the puzzle box collection. This room is filled with Karakuri group puzzles, boxes from many American designers, the Scanavini chest, and many, many more designers too numerous to mention. The room also holds a number of drawer chests which hold the dexterity puzzles, both modern and ancient. In total, the museum holds 29 cabinets with 295 drawers. That's a lot of puzzles. The house has 37 IKEA Billy bookcases with 23 extenders. There are over 148 IKEA Calyx boxes with just over 3,000 glass shelves installed. All of the bookshelves and boxes are mounted to the concrete walls using Tapcons. We wanted something sturdier than what came with the shelving units. These things aren't going anywhere. If you really were interested in what we put into the museum, you'll find a post on my blog dated the 9th of June, 2021. This section of the room holds a number of older puzzles: dexterity, tangrams, dissections, disentanglements, and many, many others. As in Puzzle Palace, the kitchen has rebus and other puzzling plates mounted to the walls. As we ascend the staircase, we see another view of the Great Wall of China. At the top of the stairs are a number of crystal lines puzzles. Between the halfway house and the manager's room, you will find a variety of card puzzles and origami. The halfway house holds our collection of wire disentanglements. We think there are about 20,000 pieces in this room. The manager's room holds the mass-produced plastic puzzles and a number of 3D printed puzzles. It also serves as the master bedroom. This room has a lookout window over the great room below. Downstairs, we find a room full of keychains and tangles. As we enter the garage, we see carded dexterity mazes and collections of wire disentanglements. The next room is a bathroom that you don't want to get locked in. The garage has been locked down and made into yet another puzzle room. This one has everything else in it: disentanglements, perplexus puzzles, Stribos bottles, sliding tiles, moving beads, puzzle cans, mazes, and so many, many more. The entire house, both houses, are temperature and humidity controlled. We keep them at 77 degrees year-round, and the humidity ranges between 55 and 65%. To keep the dust at bay, we have installed a UV-emitting dust remover in all of the air conditioning units. The museum has 4 of these, while Puzzle Palace has 7. All of the lights in both houses have been changed to low UV emitting LED lights. The museum has hurricane shutters on all of the external windows and balconies. Both houses have a swimming pool and spa and are overlooking the golf course. When we acquired the Horton-Delgetti collection, we already had at least 12,000 puzzles of our own. The Horton-Delgetti collection purports to have around 40,000 puzzles. Since the acquisition, we've added at least another 2,000 puzzles through purchases and donations. The collection was purchased at the end of January 2021, delivered in July, and fully installed by the end of September. We have worked tirelessly to ensure that it is available for puzzlers to see and enjoy as much as we do, and as have many numerous puzzlers while it was under James's care. We feel honored that he has entrusted us to be the current caretakers of this piece of puzzling history. We don't feel as if we own the collection, but rather as if we were merely guardians of it for a short while. Our goal is to maintain the collection as one unit and pass it on to another younger puzzle collector at some point in the future. We hope to not just maintain, but to enlarge the collection for future generations to enjoy. To help us with this massive endeavor, we've hired 2 museum caretakers to help photograph, catalog, and manage the collection when we are not around. They are young people who have a love of puzzles and respect the antiquity of what they are handling. We feel they will be an asset to the museum for years to come. As we come to the end, we thought we'd show you a few photographs of the floors and walls in the museum. Puzzles and math go hand in hand, and so we posted the walls of the garage to show this connection.
Both homes have Tesla solar panels installed to offset the cost of the electricity used. This is not the end of the collection, but rather just the beginning. Here you see a photo of us just a few weeks ago stopping by an auction house in Chicago to pick up another 24 puzzle boxes that I won. When asked by our daughter how often we get puzzles in, I replied, hourly. We want to continue to add to the collection, but cannot do so only on our own. Any donations to the collection will be gratefully accepted. All are welcome to visit. The Puzzle Palace Museum is open to visitors by invitation only, so just ask and you'll be received.
Wow is what everybody is commenting, and that is, yeah.
That's almost all of the 50,000 puzzles. The halfway house has yet to be put in place. So there we have a lot of piles of disentanglement that have to be untangled. And then we've got the Dick Hess puzzles that have to be put on the walls. They have to be.
The disentanglement puzzles have to be disentangled.
Yeah.
And then we've come up with a philosophy, what I call display and play, meaning nothing is in boxes. It's all right there. It's all on the shelf. Look at the shelf behind me. You can walk over, pick one up, go to a table, play with it, put it back, and go another. One puzzle at a time, and you have to solve. If you take it apart, you got to put it back together.
Yes.
There was a question, 2 questions asked that I'll answer. The first one is there a minimum age for visiting the museum? And the answer is yes, there is. You can come to Puzzle Palace. We don't care how old you are, but at the museum, if you're under 18, it's a no-go because it's just too tempting for children to go in there. They think they're toys, and there are a lot of pieces in there that are just irreplaceable. So children, no. This house, yes. The other one, someone said, is this including the Horden Delgetti collection? Yes, it does. We started out with our puzzles, our collection joined together. We've got about 12,000 pieces together. And they were initially in the house that we live in. And when we got the Horden Delgetti collection, everything kind of shifted. Each house has different collections and different rooms that things belong in.
So they've been, the collections have been sort of integrated at this point?
They're intermingled, yes.
Yeah.
For example, all the Berrocals are together.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah. Scott Kim asks, is there a URL for the Puzzle Museum?
There will be. I need help on it. But I'm going to go into programming mode in December 21st.
Yeah, we're going on a 6-month cruise, and George's job during that cruise is to write the program for the Puzzle Palace Museum. We're hopeful that it'll be up around July or August. And at that point, it'll be open to everyone to come in and browse.
I kind of want to make it Puzzlepedia type, where anyone can comment about any particular puzzle and add to the collection, because one person can't do this. What we'll do is we will, over the years, photograph every single puzzle, actually from multiple angles. And this will be an enormous, about 4 terabyte collection, which will go into the cloud, and the database will just have URLs to the pictures and blah, 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 blah.
There's a question from Carol. It says, it appears someone could live in these houses. Does anyone? Yes. George and I live in the big house. We live in Puzzle Palace. And we've hired 2 young people to be caretakers. They're going to move into the museum, so they'll be staying over there. We call it our northern house. When we're over there working, we sleep in that house. There are 4 bedrooms over there. Yeah. One will be taken, of course, by the caretakers. And yeah, it's completely kitted out. I've got dishes, furniture, food, everything's there, you know.
Just come.
Just come. Is there room for expansion, and for how long? Absolutely. Okay. So on some of the rooms in the museum, you would have seen blank shelves, blank boxes. We maximize the wall space over there. And we realized that we've got room for double the collection, I guess, between the 2 houses. In this house, when we were building it, we put in 3/4 of a mile of linear footage of shelving in this house. I don't know what it is in the other place. We haven't looked that up yet. Our house was about 9,000 square feet when we bought it, 8,000, 9,000 square feet. It's now 12,000 square feet because we've expanded the attic space. Yeah, we have lots of room to carry on. Oh, okay. We're in Boca Raton, Florida, which is South Florida. And yes, Simon, we do accept puzzle donations.
Gladly. We have shelf space for all the donations, and your name goes on.
Yes, every puzzle that's donated, it's got a sticker on it that who donated it and what month.
Oh, let me add, part of the curation business is to put a unique identifier on every puzzle. In other words, the identifier is carried with the puzzle itself. Yes, it messes up the puzzle a little bit, but you need the identifier. Furthermore, we've come up with a scheme for naming all of the shelves and shelving in the 2 houses. And we will build a database which will connect the 2, so that you'll not only know what's everywhere, but in any one particular place, you can find the names of all the puzzles that are in there. So that's paramount, I believe.
Okay. To Adam, to answer your question, no, we really can't use James's database. He sent us the photographs and the images, but a lot of them say, QR136.img, and it's not linked to what the actual photograph is. So we decided that it would just be less expensive to.
It's not a question of expense. Also,
time consuming. Sorry.
I like his database. His database is beautiful, and it's very fast, but it's in a language that's by a company that's pretty much out of business now, and so it's hard to expand it and so forth. So I'm thinking of just writing my own.
Kate, the puzzles we have you've seen on the video, or the ones from IPP. That's one of the things, I don't know if it came across in the video, but our favorite spot in the house is the IPP wall. And we've got puzzles going back to the very first IPP. I think we're missing about 114 of the early ones. Otherwise, it's a near complete collection.
So Kate, I'm sure, was referring to the puzzles that her company, Paid-On Enterprises, produces. But so I think there's kind of an elephant in the room here that I don't know if I want to raise or not, but you can't avoid.
We're not going to answer that question, okay?
Well, there's not a question in particular, but those of us in the puzzle community are well aware, of Jerry Slocum's puzzle collection at the Lilly Library, which is a really big deal. So, I mean, how do you see yourself in comparison to that, I guess, is the question.
Okay, I want to answer
Okay,
that.
he's going to answer it. I got the
No, you're right. That's a huge elephant. And okay, a little bit of history. There's some, there were, when James got the collection from Horton, there were two conditions. One of the conditions is the collection should never be broken up. Okay. And I can't tell you the second condition.
Okay.
But it's somehow related to
that,
to the elephant in the room. Okay.
Okay.
Now we're not going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Lilly Library. Roxanne has been there twice. I've been there once. For me, it was a very disheartening experience. We had to call ahead 2 weeks in advance and tell them what puzzles we wanted to look at. When we got there, the Lilly Library was closed, and we had to. They knew we were coming. They knew when we were coming. We came, and we weren't there.
they weren't there. We were there.
We walked into the Lilly Library, which has a display of puzzles, but it was mostly harpsichord music and some harpsichords. It had been basically taken over. Very changed from when it was first opened. There's one wall of the 4 walls that had glass shelves and had puzzles there. You couldn't open any of the glass shelves. I don't even think there was anything you could play with there. So we asked.
There was a horseshoe puzzle, make the tea, those big things that you can find in any museum anywhere.
And then she said, well, what would you like to see? And I said, well, I'd like to see some sliding block puzzles. And she says, okay, which one? And I said, well, I don't know the names of all of them. And so she says, okay, I think I can accommodate you. And about 2 hours later, she came back. She had to go 3 miles to a warehouse and dig up some boxes and bring them. She brought 4 sliding block puzzles, and I got to play with each one at a time, with her standing over my shoulder, watching every minute. Basically, this wasn't a museum that you could walk around and browse. Also went to the Knob Museum.
At the last IPP.
And there again, similar thing. They had more puzzles on display behind glass shelves that you couldn't touch, but you could see. But most of them were in boxes elsewhere. And this seems to be, I've been to the one in Mongolia, but I don't think that's alive anymore. I'm not sure. That was a long time ago. So as far as puzzle museums go, where you can actually do research, grab the puzzle, look at the pieces, read books about them, it's basically capturing the intellectual content vis-a-vis puzzles from early antiquity right to the present. And I'd like to make some comments about what's happening in the present. And that is, the puzzles are coming out much faster because of internet, because of 3D printers, because of computers that do all the mathematical analysis. Bob, you're very familiar with that.
Yep.
So, and they've been getting more difficult, more interesting, blah, 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 blah. And while I'm still on my wrap here, I'd like to say that puzzles and art, there's a whole range of, it's like female and male, and there's a whole range in between. And when does a puzzle become art, and when does art become a puzzle? Now, the Berrocals started with art, moved towards puzzles. And the burrs, or the cubes, are moving, or no, the boxes are moving, secret boxes are moving towards art. You see some beautiful woodwork that make the puzzles maybe not interesting from a intellectual standpoint, but certainly very attractive. I'm fine. I'm finished.
Okay, thank you.
So to answer your question in a nutshell, Bob, any of these puzzles back here, you can go pick up, you can play with.
Yeah.
You know, whereas at the other puzzle museums, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, I remember I was there as you were when the Lilly Museum was launched, 15 or so years ago, and that was a nice event. But of course, it has to be carried forward in a effective way.
Yeah.
Also, they're not adding any to the Lilly library.
Yeah.
Within the IPP puzzles. This, as I said on the video, we've added about 2,000 puzzles since we've got the Delgetty collection. So it's just adding puzzles of our own. Within the last week in the mail, I've received probably 100 puzzles. We've got a massive donation from someone, but also I just keep hunting auctions and websites and buying new ones that come out. And yes, the philosophy is called display and play. Wow.
There's an interesting question here from Bjorn. You can probably.
We knew that was going to come up. So George is newest.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite puzzle? Again, it's sort of a daily thing, but this is it right here. Yeah. This is called the bucolic cube. And this was made by, or designed by, Yasuhiro Hashimoto in Japan.
I think it came out in 2012 or 2013. It was in the design competition.
So what I like, one of the reasons I like about this is, okay, it comes apart, and there's three pieces, and they're all identical. And why this is my favorite puzzle is
it's a sneaky little button.
You can't put it together. I mean, you say, what's the big deal? 3 puzzles that go together in a cube. And there's nothing tricky about it, but psychologically, most people can't do it. And so this is a good bar puzzle because you could give it to a guy at a bar and you could win beers off it. You can't put that together in 10 minutes. I'll bet you a beer on that. And you'll be drunk by the end of the evening.
And mine are definitely the Berrocals because I've spent a long time hunting those down. I absolutely love those pieces. And you'll see some in there that, you know, even the Berrocal Foundation doesn't have.
I wasn't finished.
Oh, sorry.
I'm putting them in little boxes like this. This is 1.5-inch boxes. This is big. I'm going to start making puzzles, what I call Miller's miniatures. This puzzle was my first puzzle made on, where's the camera?
It's right there.
Yeah, the my SLS printer. So this is nylon that's been fused together. And I'm just finished a batch of, in one batch, 128 at a time. Because with the powder gives you the support you need, so you don't have any support material. And so you can pack them about 1 millimeter apart and in the volume, which is 11 inches high, 6.5 by 6.5 inches. And so if you keep your puzzle small, you can make 100 at a time. Now that 100 takes about 3 days, 3 days, an hour to warm up, 15 hours to cool off. And then, you know, the layers are.
It's very fast.
Yeah, but it's amazing. It's just an amazing machine, and I'm loving it. Very expensive machine too.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, if you order something from Shapeways, those of you who have 3D printed, you know, you get this much higher quality and much fewer restrictions than if you have like a home 3D printer. But if you want to have one of those in your home, an SLS printer, that's a big deal. Most people do not have SLS printers in their home. Yes.
It takes up about a quarter of that bedroom.
Yeah.
But that's George's office, and you know we have Murphy beds in there, so it works anyway.
So here's a good question. Can you give us an idea of some of the historically earliest types of puzzles?
Wow.
It's usually flat puzzles.
Yeah, they're flat packing 2D puzzles, or
the jigsaw puzzles.
The jigsaw puzzles. The first one was that one that we've got from 1766. The Stomachion is the oldest one.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. No one's going to beat that.
Yeah.
And when we're looking at the collection that we have, once we get past the jigsaw puzzles, I think the next oldest ones that we have are the round dexterity puzzles.
The little ball
that slides around. We've got some of those dating back to the early 1800s. Some of the wire puzzles are in there. Oh my goodness, the Great Wall of China is puzzle drinking vessels.
And they're very old.
And they're some of them are very, very old, yes. James Delgetti's assistant named it, we called it the vase wall because of the electric lighting system in the house. It's all on Siri, it's all Lutron system. And James's assistant named it the Great Wall of China. So the name is kind of stuck since then.
That's great.
So he's very active in helping us with putting things together and organizing and telling me what I'm doing wrong. And he's right.
Yes, Scott Kim. Yeah, I'll probably get back in the business of prototyping again, especially if I can take an order of 100, not 1 or 2, but not 10,000, but 100 sounds about right.
Gee, that's a convenient number for
it sure is, isn't it?
exchange, isn't it? Yes.
You play to your audience. What do you want?
Yeah, yeah. This has been absolutely incredible, and thank you both so much for putting together this incredible resource. I don't think any of us were aware of just quite the extent of what it has become. And the ability for people to go there and be hands-on and play with it, this is going to be really incredible going forwards. As Mark says, your joy in Puzzle Love is most inspirational. Yes, certainly so. Thank you again so much, George and Roxanne.
Thank you for having us.